This is Aaron with Rocket Media, and today I'm going to teach you how to create a page inside of Expression Engine. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the top left where it says Content, and when we click on that, we're going to go to Publish, and then we're going to go down to Page. And when I click on that, it's going to load a page that has a variety of different fields here, and we're just going to go through them one by one. So the first one says Title, so I'm just going to enter in a title of Test Page. The second field here is URL title, and that's going to be automatically generated for us, so we don't need to worry about that. And the third field is going to be body, and that's where we enter in the bulk of the information for this page. So anything you want to say goes in this field, and it's kind of cool because it has this editor here where we can enter in, bold, italicize, underline. We can tweak some of the styles and the size and the color of our text. So it should be familiar to anybody who uses something like Microsoft Word or a text editor or anything like that. So I won't go through all of them, but the two most frequently asked about are probably adding a link to another page and adding an image to this page. So I'll go ahead and create some test content here. And when I select that and go to the little Earth icon with the link here, it's going to bring up a prompt and ask us where we want to send that information to. So you can see it says our link type is URL, and we want to send it to, we can either paste a link in here from an internal page, or we can send it to an external site, maybe something like google.com or an affiliate you might have. And when we're done entering in the information, all we're going to do is go down here and click OK. And when we do that, you can see that it changes the link color to blue to signify that it's now clickable, so that when a user clicks on it, they'll be able to go to a different page, whatever you specified. The next is going to be adding an image. So if you go up to the little mountain icon with the house and click on that, it's going to bring up a similar prompt. And again, it's going to ask us for the URL of where this image is. And instead of typing it out, we're going to go over to this icon over here. It says Browse Server, and click that. And it's going to kind of bring up a prompt that has a kind of repository of images here. Now we can select one that already exists, or we can upload a new one by going to the upper left here where it says Upload. And it's just going to ask us where we want to pull that file from. So if we click Browse, it's going to bring up a prompt that allows us to kind of navigate through our computer and select an image file that we want. Now just for time's sake, I'm actually going to select one that's already present on the server here. So I'm just going to go and I will, let's see, we'll go with this logo here. Now you can see when I double click that, it's going to add it in here, and it fills out the path for us automatically, and it actually gives us a little preview here of what the image looks like. Now you can see it's actually quite large here, and I want to scale that down. So over here where it says width, all we have to do is make it a number smaller than it already is to shrink it down. So right now it's 484. I'm going to take it down to maybe, I don't know, 150. So it looks a little better. So we can also do some things like add a border, add some spacing around it, and also align it so that we can kind of tweak it the way we want it to look. So the first thing here is going to be a border. You can see if I enter in like a 1 here, it's going to add a little border to it. H space is the horizontal space. So if we don't want the text to butt up right against the image, we can add some horizontal space in there. So it gives a little bit of breathing room. So I'll just enter in a 15 here. So you can see now it kind of spaces it out so it looks a little nicer. We'll add some V space in there as well. And now you can see it really looks nice. It has some breathing room around it so that it's not so bunched up. Now if we want to align it, we can align it to either the left or the right, so that on the left the text will wrap around the right of the image, and on the right hand side it'll wrap around the left hand side of the image. So we're going to go ahead and select right, just so we can see what that looks like. And there you can see that it is actually wrapping around. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK when I'm done. And now if I were to type some content, you can see the image stays on the left and the content stays on the right. So that's how you add an image. And if I go down, the next field is going to be, we have column custom and column includes. So column custom is content that we put on the page that will only show up on just this page. And column includes is column information that can be seen and will appear throughout the site on numerous pages. So you can see we have a bunch of different preset columns already in here. And if I want to use one for this specific page, all I have to do is drag it and drop it over onto the right hand side. And now on this test page, the address column will show up on the right. So just for reference again, the column custom is only for one page. So if I look at your site here, we'll go to a subpage, and in the column area you can see that we have some content over here. So the custom column content will appear above this, and then column includes will appear right where this information is right here. This is actually the address column include. So I'll go ahead and close those up. The next one is going to be column pre-content. That's more for Rocket Media's use, but that's if you have an image or something like that that you'd like to have on the right-hand side and not have padding around it. By default, it adds some padding so that it looks a little nicer for text, but if you don't want to see that, you can enter your content in here. The next are meta title, meta description, and meta keywords. You don't really need to enter in content for these either, since Rocket Media does that for you, but these are just for search engines, and particularly ones that aren't Google. Google does not use meta information anymore, so it's just kind of a luxury. You can put it in here if you like, but you don't have to. The next field that I'm going to cover actually in a different video is going to be mock form ID, and that's just the ID of a form. If you have or rather, if you want to add a form to this page, that's where you would enter the ID there. The next is banner image. So if you want to add a banner image to this specific page, you can just click Add File, and that just kind of brings up a little prompt here where it asks us where we want to pull that image from. So if we click Browse, again, it's just going to ask us where on our computer we want to pull that from. Or if we want to select one that already exists, we can simply click on the banners folder here, and you can see we already have some preloaded images that you can choose from. So in this case, I'm just going to select one that's already here, and then you can see that it adds the banner image here with a little thumbnail. And if we want to get rid of it, we can just simply click Remove. So the next is banner status. So if we want to kind of on the fly select on or off, then it will make it so that the user can either have the banner appear and users can see it, or off would mean nobody can see it, but it's still stored in the system here. Main banner content you don't have to worry about. That's just for the home page entry, where we can add different banners to the home page. So that's only specific to one certain entry. And then footer status is just going to allow you to change the number of columns in the footer. If we take a look at the front of the site, from 3 columns to 2 columns, or rather 3 columns to 4 columns. So when we're done, we'll just change that back here. So when we're done editing all of our content, we can just click the date field. And the date field by default has the defined date and time that we entered this entry or started editing this entry. And that's useful more for something like publishing a news entry or a blog entry, but the page does save that data in here for you. So you can see it already has it selected as today, August 24th. If you want to have it expire on a certain date, you can have it set to expire. That's maybe useful for something like a news entry or a coupon or something like that. So when it's entered, it'll start on the entry date, and then on the expiration date, it'll take it off of the site so people won't be able to view it anymore. So I'll go ahead and clear that out. And then comment expiration you don't have to worry about because comments are not turned on for this particular site. The next tab is the Pages tab, and this is actually only unique just to this section. So if I look at all these other sections in here, blog and calendar and column and all these different sections in here, none of them have this tab. The only one that has it is the Page channel. So this is the only one you need to set this on. But this is just the specific URL suffix for this particular page. So if we look at the front end of your site and we're on the history page, if we look at the URL up here, it says /history, or if we go to the specialties page, it says /specialties. So it's just going to be the unique kind of identifier that we have for this specific page. So in this case, I'm just going to type test-page. And you're going to want to use dashes and no spaces, just because spaces aren't generally accepted by web browsers, and dashes are better for search engine optimization as well. You don't have to set the template because the system does that for you, so you're pretty much all good here. And we'll go on to the next tab, which is Options. And Options just shows you the channel that you're publishing under this, and this is a page. And then we have status, which is pretty important. So status is open or closed. So if we want this particular entry to show live on the website and for users to access it, we'll leave it as open. And if we don't want anybody to have access to it, then we can make it closed. And then it will be off of the site, but still stored in the backend system. It won't delete it. So we're just going to change that back to open so that we can see it in a second here. It tells us the author. You can see I'm signed in as Cheryl right now, but you can change the author of the entry as well if you'd like, but by default it defaults to whoever you're logged in as. And then options, we have make entry sticky, allow comments, and DST. So the first one, make entry sticky, doesn't really pertain to pages, but more over something like a blog or a news article where they're sorted by date on the front end of the site. So if they're sorted by date and we want the system to ignore that, all we have to do is say make entry sticky, and then this particular entry will stick to the top of the list. Allow comments, again we have comments turned off, so it doesn't really matter if you have this turned on or off. And the daylight savings is not really useful either, just because we don't record what time it is on the website. We only record the date, so that doesn't matter if that is on or off either. So once we're done adding all of our content and setting all of our options here, we'll just scroll down to this button that says Submit. And then you can see that we have submitted a new entry. We don't really have any content for it. We add the address column. And now we'll go to the front end of the site. And if we just go and we type in our identifier, which was test-page, then it's going to take us to our basic template that we have made here with our page. And that's how you add a page to Expression Engine.